county.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So, Speaker, I would wish to respond to the statement on the preparedness towards the coming mango season in the county. And so, Speaker, I'll go straight away to the additional response, because we responded and there were some issues, some gray areas which needed to be combed, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 50 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders, during its second sitting of the County Assembly held on 16th October 2023, the above series response was issued and termed as unsatisfactory. The ECM was expected to respond to the following issues, Mr. Speaker. The first one was the indicated price of the 20 shillings per kilogram of mangoes, which included fruit harvesting, loading, and transport to the factory. This was termed to be on the lower side, given the current economic hardships experienced by most of the farmers, and the fruit being one of the main cash crops in the region, and therefore proposed that the price be revised to at least 30 shillings. Mr. Speaker, the second issue which we needed to respond to was the Kenya shillings 60 million for the purchase of mangoes and direct costs associated with puree production. It was resolved that actually the ECM should have failed breakdown of the expenditure, or now the amount of money will be spent, Mr. Speaker. And then thirdly, under the same response, Mr. Speaker, we are going there.
Additional response on it, sir.
Yeah.
Some additional response.
Yeah. So, Mr. Speaker, again, in the indicated response on the department scheduling to meet various categories of buyers to plan on mango offtake, the ECM was required to await the plan clearly indicating dates of engagement, amounts in kgs each category is going to offset, because we are given some buyers like Kate and so on and so forth. Then fourthly, the indicated response, the department creating areas of lowest preference and considering installing of hot water treatment plant and technology which will enable mango export to European market. Further, the investment which will be under the Makueni County Aggregation and Industrial Park. The ECM was supposed again to fulfill the plan. Mr. Speaker, the committee endeavors to respond to the statement. It wrote to the ECM in a letter dated 17th October 2023, requesting for information regarding the same. So, Speaker, the ECM responded in a letter dated 25th October 2023 and informed the committee as follows. The first request was about the 20 shillings per kilo. And she has rightly responded, and we have adopted, Mr. Speaker, that the price of 20 shillings per kilogram of mango was arrived at following calculations which considered the cost of mango production per kilogram at farm level, fruit harvesting, loading, transport, processing, and marketing, and the prevailing market prices. The calculations, Mr. Speaker, established that the prices above 20 shillings per kilogram would make the Makueni County Fruit Processing Plant to operate at a loss. Mr. Speaker, this price of 20 shillings was discussed and agreed upon with the mango producer groups. The price will, however, not be static. It will keep on changing depending on the market fluctuation, but will be subject to review as per market dynamics also, Mr. Speaker. It is important to note that the new price is an improvement from Kenya shillings 18 that was paid during the 2022-2023 financial year, Mr. Speaker. So we've improved from 18 shillings to 20 bob. Mr. Speaker, the committee resolved that the department should ensure that the buying price of mangoes from farmers who are taking it to the factory, Mr. Speaker, should be a minimum of 15 shillings per kilo from the farmers. We've since realized there's a committee that actually when they are given, when the cooperative societies are given 18 shillings, they usually go and buy from the farmers at 8 shillings per kilo, or even 5. So as a committee, we've given a recommendation that actually the lowest that the farmer should get is 15 shillings per kilo. Mr. Speaker, through the Makueni County Fruit Processing and Development Authority, Makueni Fruit Processing Plant will be purchasing about 720,000 kilograms of mangoes from Makueni farmers, from which a production of 2,000 drams of puree is expected. The price will be 20 kilograms, as I've already indicated, which includes fruit harvesting, loading, transport to the factory, Mr. Speaker. Then, Mr. Speaker, the second question was how we'll spend the 60 million, and we needed a breakdown. So, Speaker, the department has set aside the 60 million for the purchase of mangoes and direct costs associated with puree production. And we've been given a breakdown. We have a table on what will appertain to the 60 million, Mr. Speaker. They are clearly seated, and I'll be going through the table, Mr. Speaker, to show exactly where we are. Then question 3 is whether the department has engaged stakeholders from outside the county to help identify viable market for the excess mangoes not bought by the county for processing at the Makueni Fruit Processing Plant. The department has scheduled to meet various categories of buyers to plan on mango offtake. These include exporters like Kate, Bolton and Bamba, Kibweza Angro, Evian Farm, Vet, Goshen, and the Biofarm, etc. And then the second category that we're going to meet, or they are going to meet, is actually the processors, and then the cooperatives, and then the local traders, and the marketing agents, Mr. Speaker. Then the plans the department has put in place to explore external market, more so the European market for the sale of puree from the Makueni Fruit Processing Plant, as well as the plans for sale of the puree juice produced in the county. So, Speaker, the Makueni Fruit Processing Plant has been selling puree to local juice manufacturers and also exporting to various countries, including Ethiopia, South Sudan, Mauritius, Egypt, Oman, among others. These markets have served Makueni Fruit Processing Plant, while since the stocks of puree produced in January 2023 and the previous productions have since been sold out and were exhausted by July 2023. So, Speaker, as you speak, you don't have even a single dram of puree at the factory. So, Speaker, the department is further creating areas of low pesticide prevalence and is also considering installing a hot water treatment plant, a technology that will enable mango export to the European market. And this investment, Mr. Speaker, will be under the Makueni County Aggregation and Industrial Park. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we have, as I've indicated, we have availed the breakdown of the 60 million set aside by the department for the purchase of mangoes and direct costs associated with puree production. So, Speaker, the first activity is engineering and maintenance, which will take around 500,000, and it will start from November to December 2023. Then puree production, including procurement of raw materials, consumables, and the recruitment of cashiers, it will take 44,476,702, and it will start from January to March 2024, because ideally that is when actually the export mangoes are already getting finished from our farmers, and we are left with the small sizes which cannot go to the factory. which can ably go to the factory. So, Speaker, then administration costs will cost us 5,221,400 shillings, and we start from 2023. Actually, it is for the whole year, 2023 to 2024. Then staff gratuity, 5,976,626.40 cents within actually 2023-2024 financial year. Then we'll have RTD line arrears. That is 1 million for that financial year 23-24. Then we have sales and marketing. We have to do it because we're going to be actually selling puree. We have to do a lot of marketing. So, Speaker, we are going to spend 1,480,000 in the year 23-24. Board and governance, Mr. Speaker, is going to cost us 975,000 in the financial year 23-24. Then contingencies, Mr. Speaker, is going to cost 170,251.60 cents, and that will give us a grand total of 60 million, Mr. Speaker. Then, Mr. Speaker, we have a schedule of the various category of mango farmers that are going to be met by the department. And the first category will be Makueni County Fruit Development Authority, and that will be 2nd October 2023. And I've since indicated that they will have an offtake of 750,000 kilograms. Then we have the cooperatives who are interested in buying the mangoes. We'll meet them, or they will be met between 5th of October. It will be confirmed, and then they will be meeting at Molala Chiefs Camp. And then we've Kakika Farmer Cooperative Society. They're going to confirm the date when they're going to meet them, and then the venue also to be confirmed and time. Mulili Chale Farmer Cooperative Society, date, venue, and time to be confirmed. Kibwezi East Farmer Cooperative Society, and then to be confirmed the date, venue, and time. Kwiminia Farmers Cooperative Society, same date, venue, and time will be confirmed. But all will be done within before the end of November, as indicated, so that we are on time. Mr. Speaker, this is just a sample. We have not tackled all the groups. We have others. We've just taken a sample so that we can show how the department is trying to work. Then the department creating a low pest preference and considering installing hot water treatment plant. Areas of low pest preference, Mr. Speaker, is a defined geographical area under which preference of a specific pest, that is like mango fruit fly, has been reduced to an insignificant level. That is between 9.5 to, from 95 to 98 of the expected produce is free from the pest. The low pest zone will be created through uniform application of mandatory pest control measures over the selected geographical area, and the program will work closely with Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Services, that is KEPIS, Horticultural Crops Directorate, and International Center for Insect Physiology and Ecology. Target areas for the establishment of the low pest preference area include the following, but not limited to those ones. Under water ward, we have water ward, water and sewer ward, Kisau Geteta ward, Kakowaiya ward, Muvao Kigumina ward, Kiakatonzeni ward, Mavindini and Kitize ward, targeting over 4,000 hectares. These will be this will be an expansion of the already established area of low pest preference covering 4,030 hectares in Zawi, Gilili, Kalamba, and 700 hectares in Kibwezi East and Kibwezi West along the river Athi production belt. It should be noted that the above Lopez preference areas are sampled from the department, depending on the production areas and pest and disease preferences, among other factors. So, Speaker, we have a table indicating the plan of program implementation, Mr. Speaker, for the creation of the low pest zone. It is already here with us. Procurement of male annihilation technology, parent traps, procurement of protection bait, lure, procurement of solarization bags, procurement of fuel to transportation and distribution of parliament tabs and staff supervisions, facilitation of KPIs, HCD, ICP officers, mapping of pest-free zones, that is the quarries, Babazon, risk factors and farmers registration, deployment of IP technologies, among others, Mr. Speaker. Then, Mr. Speaker, finally, plan on the county aggregation and industrial park. Mr. Speaker, the establishment of the hot water treatment facility within the Makueni County aggregation and industrial park is at proposal stage, awaiting approval by the cabinet and the national government, since it is a joint investment, Mr. Speaker. This activity is being spearheaded by the Department of Trade, Marketing and Industry, Culture and Tourism. The department will share the implementation plan once the proposal is approved, which is expected in a month's time. Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee hereby presents the response to the statement regarding the county government's preparedness towards coming mango season in the county to the county assembly for consideration. Mr. Speaker, as a committee, we've done our part, and we felt that this is the best response that we've received and which could be availed, and which should be availed in this house, Mr. Speaker. And therefore, because we have the requester here, and he has a response, he can now tell us whether we have actually achieved the objective of the statement. Thank you.
Chair, the responsibility doesn't lie with you for the request of the statement.
I have just given my view.
Honorable Mateso, please.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The chair is happy, but of course he should be happy. This is a very good response. And Honorable Speaker, if you compare what was responded and what we have now, at least this is a very detailed report. And if this is anything to go by, then definitely our farmers will have to benefit during this mango season. Honorable Speaker, 60 million is not little money. We just wanted to get a breakdown of what they plan to do with this 60 million. And it's well templated in the list. Honorable Speaker, at the same time, the other category of the schedules of mango buying is well templated. There are categories of the cooperatives that are supposed to buy mangoes. There are also a program of implementations. Mr. Speaker, this report is, of course, a very good report, and Chair, I want to applaud you for this good job. And what we need to do is to follow up and make sure that it is well implemented, so that it just not be on paper and nothing is being done. So thank you so much. We will go by this. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson, Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative. I thought there was no another member who was willing to speak, but I'm seeing some requests. Chair, the requester? No, just a minute, Chair, because I'm seeing another member who wants to say something. Honorable Mwaniki.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I thank the Chair of Agriculture because, as Honorable Matezo has said, he has brought a very comprehensive report, answer to the statement. However, Mr. Speaker, we are aware the prices of commodities have gone up because of the fluctuation of the Kenya shillings and the dollar. And listening to the Chair, actually the prices of mango to the exporters like Kate remain the same. And taking into consideration that the prices of pesticides had gone up, Mr. Speaker, I expected the Chair to say something about how they are going to cushion farmers because of the fluctuation of the shilling. Number two, Mr. Speaker, Chair said they are going to spend 60 million on purchase of the post-harvest mangoes which are taken to Kalamba processing plant, 60 million. And these mangoes the aim is to produce puree, which is sold. But it not clarified to us what we expect from the 60 million that we have bought the mangoes, we have taken them to Kalamba, we have processed puree, and the puree is sold. We don't know what is the county government going to get out of the 60 million invested in mangoes to Kalamba fruit processing plant. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Mwaniki, please. The request only wanted to know the breakdown of the 60 million set aside by the department for the purchase of mangoes and direct cost associated with the puree production. So the chair only responded as per the request of the honorable member, but the chair, before we proceed, there is another member want to say something, then we conclude.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think it's not right for the honorable member to start raising other questions. I'm just informing the House, since the request of the statement has said he agrees with the report and is happy with the question which has been addressed. So therefore, I don't know why you should now start bringing other questions on the statement. The request has said it's okay. So I thought the chair, agriculture, will just raise and the bow and they say it's okay. Mr. Speaker, let us move there. We have important motions in front of us, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Mwaniki, you are properly protected. Honorable Dennis, every member has a right to speak in this assembly.
Yes,
proceed in an orderly manner without provoking other members.
I'm not provoking anybody. I was informing the House. No.
Chair, conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy that the requester is satisfied with the answers that we've given, and I've indicated very clearly that actually Kate, Balma, and the others, those are private companies, and it will be a willing seller, willing buyer. The prices will be determined by the market forces, of course. We have also indicated that clearly we are not static. Of course, as at now, because we've not even gotten the prices of puree according to the market prices, we are going to start at 20 so that we don't run at a loss. But we may sit and review the prices as things come by. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm also happy that the requester is satisfied. Thank you.
Chair, proceed also with the statement requested by the member for Ilima regarding the shortage of subsidized fertilizer in the county.
Shortage of fertilizer. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, just a moment. No, I'm okay.
Chair, do you need an assistance from the table office?
Not really. I'm trying to get somewhere so that I don't repeat exactly what I presented the other day. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to respond to a statement regarding the shortage of subsidized fertilizer in the county. Mr. Speaker, the committee sat and, Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Article 185, Sub-Article 3 of the Constitution of Kenya, 2010, Section 39, Sub-Article 2 of the County Governments Act, 2012, revised to 2020, and the Standing Order 50 of the Makueni County Assembly Standing Orders during the 81st sitting of the County Assembly held on 11th October 2023, the member of the County Assembly for Ilima Ward, Honorable Jonathan Muthoka, requested for a statement regarding the shortage of subsidized fertilizer in the county. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, you directed that the chairperson of the Committee on Agriculture, that's me, Livestock and Food Security, to avail a response regarding the same statement to the County Assembly within 14 days. So, Speaker, however, in January 2023, the national government launched the fertilizer subsidy program, which was meant to avail fertilizer to farmers at subsidized cost of 3,500 down from market price of 65. So, Speaker, the program is digitally managed and executed through issuance of e-vouchers and use of other technologies to ensure that there is traceability, and also block crafty individuals from diverting the product and depriving the farmers. The fertilizer is stored, in the National Cereals and Produce Board, deposits in various counties from where the registration and e-voucher older farmers access the product. Mr. Speaker, however, farmers from far-flung areas of the county have been camping at the county National Cereal Produce Board offices in order to purchase fertilizer, but have been unable to access the product due to inadequacy of the fertilizer. This, despite the farmers having prepared their farms and just awaiting the commencement of the rains in order to plant their farms. So, Speaker, the chairperson.
Chair, can you proceed just to consideration of the statement by the committee?
Consideration of the statement by the committee.
That other detail we have.
Mr. Speaker, in the consideration of the response, Mr. Speaker, the committee did a letter on 12th October 2023, which is attached to the Executive Committee member, ECM, for the Department of Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock and Fisheries and Corporate Development. So, Speaker, sir, the ECM responded through a letter on dated 23rd October 2023. The committee considered the response and resolved to present it to the County Assembly for consideration. So, Speaker, during the 87th sitting of the County Assembly held on 24th October 2023, the response was presented to the chairperson by the chairperson committee for the consideration. There, response was termed as satisfactory, and the ECM by a letter reference COM 3CA Agriculture 2023 /031 dated 25th October 2023 was directed to avail the following additional information. The plans for the department to address the gaps in the registration of farmers. When will the department finalize its registration exercise? When is data cleaning of farmers by the national department expected to be completed? Since the collection points of the fertilizers are far apart to benefit some of the registered farmers, what plans the department is putting in place to have its collection points? And then we avail our tentative budget, and then avail the memorandum of understanding that as entered with the National Cereals Produce Board to establish the satellite depots, indicating the additional satellites as per your response. So, Speaker, again, we avail a tabulation per board, the number of farmers currently registered by the national government to receive fertilizers across the county. Then since there is an outcry regarding our supply of such fertilizer to satellite depots that are located towards where fertilizer is not intensively used, what plans the ministry has or the demanders in place to leverage that to other wards where the community is much, the commodity is much needed, not community. And then, has the department done enough sensitization on use of different fertilizers and different crops, different timings, among other best agricultural practices regarding usage of fertilizers. Mr. Speaker, the ECM responded in a letter by this on 26 about the plans that the department has to address the gaps in registration. So Speaker, Makueni County, through the Department of Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, Fisheries and Cooperative Development, among other counties in Kenya, has initiated a farmer registration exercise targeting all farming households in Makueni County. Then when will the department finalize its registration exercise and forward it to the national government? Given that the rain season has commenced, the responsibility of Speaker is that the data collection for farmer registration was undertaken in the period of 8th September to 13th October 2023. The exercise was conducted online in collaboration with the national government. The data was sent by the enumerators directly to the Ministry of Agriculture. Data serve at Kenya Agricultural Research and Livestock Organization, CALRO, for data aggregation, cleaning, and analysis. So, Speaker, when is the data cleaning of farmers by the National Department expected to be completed? The response is that data cleaning validation for profiled farmers is being undertaken by the national government. It is not clear when this will be completed because it is a national activity for the 45 counties, with the exception of Nairobi and Mombasa counties. So what is the requirement for a farmer on fertilizer distribution in Kenya? What is the requirement for a farmer to be on the fertilizer distribution in Kenya? Then the response is that farmer registration, that is data currently, which was collected between January and February 2023, as mentioned above. And then the farmer has also to receive an alert message from the Ministry of Agriculture indicating the number of fertilizer bags a farmer is eligible for. That we've said is because we are avoiding the middlemen or the brokers. Then the number is dependent on acreage declared for farming by the farmer during the registration. Mr. Speaker, going forward, the third is to presentation of the message alert to the National Cereals and Produce Board, depot operator. You have to do it so that you can collect the fertilizer, and then you do payment of Kenya shillings 2,500 per 50 kg bag of fertilizer to National Cereals Produce Board by M-Pesa, since it is an online transaction. Then, Mr. Speaker, we have the fourth question is, since the collection points of fertilizer are far apart, to benefit some of the registered farmers, what plans is the department putting in place to have its collection points at strategic areas? Mr. Speaker, subsidized fertilizer distribution is a function of the national government, as I've indicated there before. Through the National Cereals Produce Board, the department therefore cannot have its collection points. However, the county government has partnered with the National Cereals and Produce Board to set up 7 satellite depots to enhance access to fertilizer by farmers beyond the 3 existing depots of Emali, Kibwezi, and Wote. So, Speaker, the new satellite depots are Kikima, Mukuyuni, Tawa, Nungune, Bitine, Kasikeu, and Kitise. The tentative budget for establishing and running ward satellite National Cereals and the Produce Board depots, Mr. Speaker, is tabulated, and I'll quickly go through the tabulations of that, members, because we are actually dealing with the supplementary budget, can see whether they are going to avail some money to have the satellite depots within their wards. So, Speaker, the first item or the first qualification is adequate security arrangements. Estimated cost is at is 15,000. Call him a watchman per month for 3 months, which will give us about 45,000. Electricity connectivity per month per site. Token, we estimate that they use at least 2,000 shillings. Then ICT equipment, a computer, 87,000, a printer, 65, furniture, 25, modem, 7,500, internet bundles, 2,000, printing papers, 5,000, toner, 17,000, maintenance of ICT equipment once quarterly, 15,000. That will give us a total of 149,500 shillings. So if a member is willing, he can actually go by that, and he'll have a depot. We have some other additional costs, Mr. Speaker. That is rent for the hall. That is the storage facility. That is 15,000 per month. The Speaker, pellets, 55,000. At 50 of them at 1,100. Then we have offloaders, sogi, in another language, in quotes. So Speaker, 5 shillings per bag. That is 600 bags times 5, you get 3,000 per delivery, twice per month. Then, Mr. Speaker, we have depot operator, training costs of that operator, 6,000 per operator, and the salary per month, 45,000. So you can see, after creating this depot, most of the members will have created employment, because we'll have a watchman, we'll have a depot operator, we have so many other people, and even the loaders. You'll be getting some money from there. That's supervision by the department, the fuel, weekly visit. They have to see what is happening there. So Speaker, he will spend around 12,000. So total cost, Mr. Speaker, monthly and one-off costs will give us a total of 399,500. So if your member is willing to have a satellite depot, what you're telling members is that see whether you can get around 400,000 in the supplementary budget, and you'll quickly get it, even before the supplementary, because you'll indicate, and then things will start flowing. So Speaker, we've been told actually to avail the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, and the DALFCD has entered with the National Serious Practice Board to establish to establish the satellite depots, indicating the 5 additional satellites as per the response. Mr. Speaker, attached we have actually the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding. It is very detailed. Mr. Speaker, I don't need to go through it. Yes, we have it, and it's the member, the requester can actually get it. And then there's a tabulation per ward on the number of farmers currently registered by the national government to receive fertilizer across the county. As per the earlier response, Mr. Speaker, the department does not have the data requested for, since it was collected by the Minister of Interior and National Administration and shared only with the Minister of Agriculture at the national level. That is actually what we indicated. The data was being sent directly to the ministry, and after cleaning, they will share with the county government. The department has, however, requested the office of the county secretary to write to the Minister of Agriculture requesting for the same. So, in due course, we are going to get actually the information. Then, since there has been an outcry regarding oversupply of fertilizer in some depots located towards where fertilizer is not intensively used, the plans the department has in place to leverage. Speaker, the 7 satellite depots were piloted to establish what would be a workable solution to enhance farmer access to fertilizer in Makueni County and the associated costs to establish the satellite depots in the other wards. The department will forward a budget request for consideration by the county government. All what you are saying is that actually this is something which was a little bit researched, and it's only that the farmers are waiting for the rains. Once the rains come, I think most of the stores will be depleted, and they'll be waiting for the need to use fertilizer is ongoing. This is undertaken as farmers buy fertilizer in public barazas and in farmer trainings. Mr. Speaker, the fertilizer distribution now is for planting, since we are currently in planting season and top dressing fertilizer will be provided thereafter. Mr. Speaker, we've been asked what has caused delay in the response from 19th of October 2023 to date. The department notes that actually while the response was due on 19th October 2023, the actual response was forwarded to the Assembly in a letter dated 23rd October 2023. The delay was due to lack of adequate information to provide a response to the question raised because the projects in question were not implemented by the department, but by the national government. So, Speaker, the delay therefore occurred as the department liaised with the national government for comprehensive response. These responses have, however, since not been obtained, and the department is following up with the relevant offices. Mr. Speaker, the specific question where the department does not have adequate information is the tabulation data per ward on the number of farmers currently registered by the national government to receive fertilizer across the county, and actual date when data cleaning by the national government will be done. The Speaker, the department therefore reached out to the national government for the comprehensive response on the issues raised. The delay in the response was therefore due to a delay by the national government to provide a response, which has not been received to date. The department is following up the matter with the project coordinating unit to hasten provision of the requested information, and will submit it to County Assembly as soon as it lands in the department. Mr. Speaker, the inconvenience caused by the delay is highly regretted. Mr. Speaker, the committee hereby presents the response to the statement regarding the shortage of subsidized fertilizer in the county to the County Assembly for consideration. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Jonathan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me take this opportunity to thank the committee for the good work and for the deep dive they did over this statement. I think without wasting a lot of time, they have captured most of the information, and my issue would be only in question 6. As much as the chair has alluded that they were not able to get the information, when you go through this statement, you find there is a place they have mentioned that the process of getting fertilizer is through the e-vouchers, where farmers register, they are registered, you get a message through the digital platform, then you present that message to go and get the fertilizer. And what question 6 is trying to ask is, how many farmers are able to get the e-vouchers? Because without that information, you cannot plan for the supply of the fertilizers. You cannot be able to organize the satellites, even the satellites they are talking about. How many farmers will be served from these satellites if you don't even have the data of the e-farmers whom you can be able to get, who are able to get the fertilizers? That means this shortage of fertilizers will never be addressed at all unless that particular key aspect is addressed. How are we going to budget even for the construction of the value-add functionality as a County Assembly? That's why I think as much as they have handled all the other questions very fairly and very wonderfully, there is that touch point which seems to be lacking, which seems to be very of essence. As since they have offered to have failed that information, the best they can do is to tell us what is the timeline the chair will take so that we can get this information. Because at some point, as a County Assembly, we will need that information even during the supplementary budget planning. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Kimongo.
Thank you, Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I tend to think
we may not per se have shortage of fertilizers in the county, but I think the distribution of the centers has a problem. A case in study is a depot that was probably meant to address the Kadhonzweni sub-county. One would have expected farmers from Kitise, Kithuki, Kadhonzweni, and Mavindini to easily access Kadhonzweni, because that is what they do. It's a common town. It's a common market. They are there every Tuesday for market day. They are there every day for church functions. They are there every day for these other things. But this depot was taken to Kitise. Do you expect someone from Musinde to go all the way to Kitise to buy this fertilizer? That is why in the posting, out of the 200 and something packets or whatever bags, whatever it is, only 6 had been bought as at, I don't know when. You know, if this depot was in a place like Kadhonzweni, people from Kilili would go to Kadhonzweni. People from Kitise would come to Kadhonzweni. People from Mavindini would come from Kadhonzweni. So you don't expect people to go down. Kitise, Kithuki borders Kitui County, and there's a river. So unless someone crosses the river from Kanyangi to come and buy at Kitise, you don't expect a person from Mavindini or Kadhonzweni to go there. They will come to Wote. There's a teacher, there's an English teacher who told me that cowpeas, when the cowpeas, in quote, they don't bend like this.
Honorable,
They bend like this.
cowpeas is not the way. That is pigeon peas, please. What you are trying to quote in quotes is not cowpeas. Thank you.
At least
but-
you've helped me.
Thank you. Honorable Mbalo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I find we have challenge when it comes to registration. Farmers are being registered from the national government. And that information may not be easily coming to the county because the registration is being conducted by the national. I would have really wished that they would pass that issue to the county. But since we have members of a national assembly who should be also fighting for the same people we fight for, that should have been passed there, because when the national government goes on to register farmers, they should have known agriculture is devolved. And that should have been passed over to the county government to do it. And they even give us much of that power of purchasing fertilizer or getting from the national now to bring it here. But you know, that is a hiccup which happened, and we may not be able to access information as much as we wish, because you should realize when that information is being run by the national, every count you find where it is being done by the national. It would have been easier if that was being done by the county government, registering our own people. So what Mheshimiwa from, Honorable Member from Bishop is talking about, we may not be able to get that information because it is being done by the national government. Thank you.
Honorable Kaleli.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think what I intended to say that agriculture is partly devolved. The e-citizen platform is managed from the national government. For a county to access and to amend, it would not be very possible. However, the proposal is nice, and I wish what we can do as a county is to advise on the distribution, especially in the centers. But about the e-citizen, we have little we can do from where we sit, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. As we conclude, Honorable Dennis Musyoka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The ongoing exercise, which I think it ended some time back, I think 2 weeks ago, and we requested for the national government to continue with the exercise.
Are you a member of the Agriculture Committee?
No.
Proceed.
Yeah, I just wanted to inform the House that the exercise was carried out by the national government and also the county assembly. The officials were the ones, by the way, it was done by the county assembly, county government of Makueni. The recruitment was done by the county government of Makueni, the national government. And when a member raises to say that the way the satellite was established, it was not right. And I understand the Waziri comes from that side of Kitise, Kathonzo, and those areas. The Waziri understands the place better than all of us as a Waziri. And I know this exercise, as I said, it was done in conjunction with the county government of Makueni. Therefore, if there are some issues or they want the satellite to be reallocated, or they want another satellite in Kitise or Kathonzweni or Mavindini, the Waziri comes from that area. Also, they can just work in their office, in our office, and then they will get another satellite because they have all the resources at disposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Kavai.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mine was just, it was just on a light note about the areas, the wards whereby the fertilizer is not moving very well. I was only requesting asking whether you have the registered farmers who are not picking the commodity, and we also have them farmers who are not registered and are willing to pick the commodity. I was only asking whether they can be allowed, given a leeway, to just purchase the commodity straight away and do the farming. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
But the Honorable Kavai, it's very clear it's an online platform where you get a message as per the requirement. You receive a message alert from Ministry of Agriculture indicating the number of fertilizer bags a farmer is eligible. You need to be registered. You don't need to argue about that because that is clear. Then presentation of the message alert to the NCPB depot operator you get, and then the payment is also another online system through the M-Pesa. Because there are members who might wish also to clarify.
Actually, since it is registered, as you have said, but we have members who registered and who are not even willing to buy. And that one you can be able to collaborate with the county, with the provincial administration, the chiefs, sub-chiefs, and they'll tell you. That can be local arrangement between you and those, and they can assist you to access that. Because you didn't register, those who register can assist you to be able to buy and use it. Because there's no reason to register and don't. But if anybody is willing, they can connect with that. They are known in the area, and they can assist you.
Honorable Kalunda, Judge.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. On the statistical abstract, which Kenya Bureau of Standards are always making every now and then, and it is online, I thought the department should also benefit from the statistical abstract so that they can respond to those issues which have been raised by the Honorable Member for Ilima, the only elected bishop in the country, as he normally calls himself. Two, but I know sometimes he doesn't want to be referred to a bishop. Then after that statistical abstract, when it is done, and I know it is a progressive exercise they are doing all the time because they are updating themselves with what is happening. Even after the census, 10 years, they normally progressively have, and that should be forming the basis for the county also benefiting from the national government. When you read the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the two levels of government should not compete. They should work together. They should complement each other. So whether national or county, recruiting or running those affairs, the two governments should complement each other. They should not compete each other. And that is the notion we need also to tell the people we work for. Number two, when you look at these satellite farms, satellite stations they are putting up, I don't know how they are placed, because sometimes you feel they are skewed to some people, because when you hear that the honorable member for Mavindeni is speaking of Kitese having a satellite, that may be a good one because people are farming along the river Athi. But at the same time, the honorable member for Kako is indicating that because the minister for agriculture comes from that area, you can visit. So that means if you don't have a minister from your ward, it's for you to be given the service. So that should also be withdrawn from the senior member from Kako, who happens also to be in the government side because he's the chair for budget, and he even borders where the governor comes from. So we feel as members outside the Wiper Party, we feel threatened, and that member, because of his seniority and his proximity with power, we feel he should clarify that so that members can expect some good things from the government. Then the last one being what honorable member for Kasikeu, our good friend from the Muungano Party, which I also represent. The honorable member is indicating very clearly that I'm the party leader, even here, party leader here. The member for Emali is reminding me that there are places where people
conclude.
Yes, thank you, honorable. Thank you, honorable Speaker. My in-law, I'm indicating that there are people by these commodities, but they have not been up. So it is good also basing your argument on the statistical abstract and any other data available for the county and anybody else to consume. It is good we have a working formula where those people who have been supplied with commodities and are not able to absorb the same can be moved to where it is being absorbed regularly. So that is another thing we need to look at so that members of public can benefit. Then the last one. I have seen also there is a lot of business out of these fertilizer supplies.
I'm gonna name the stranger in the house.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the member, Honorable Stephen Kilonzo, who is also known as Details, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Stephen Kilonzo, are you properly dressed, or you can proceed and dress properly and then come back?
Yes, Mr. Speaker. First, I would like to inform my learned member, who is also a veteran legislator in this house. That is not architecture. Architecture is the profession. It's architect or architect. Yes, I think that should be a point noted. I wish he had somewhere you can write. I would even give the spelling because it's not an easy word. Mr. Speaker, I acknowledge that I may not be too much, also much appropriately dressed. Mr. Speaker, we had, I am a member, a vice chair of Transport and Infrastructure Committee, and today my chair is here, Alexander Mulemba. We had visitors from the executive, we had the minister, and also the CEO and other engineers. And Mr. Speaker, we stayed in the meeting until you got in here, even like around 10 minutes past that.
Honorable Stephen
So, Mr.
Kilonzo,
Speaker,
because you have acknowledged
yes,
you are not properly dressed,
yeah, Mr.
can you
Speaker,
proceed and dress properly
I would ask,
so that we can
I would
continue?
seek permission because, Mr. Speaker, I have like 4 trousers in my...
Then proceed and dress properly.
in my vehicle. It's a
Proceed.
double cabin. It has room. I can go and wear.
Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order, Honorable?
Yeah,
Vice?
Mr. Speaker, sir, before the member jets out, this is now the second time the member is being taken out, Mr. Speaker, and therefore I think it will be good for you to give a ruling on this immediately after he comes in, because this is now the second time.
Thank you,
To
Honorable
the Honorable member or to the House? But the members left the House.
The House.
Proceed.
Thank
the
you,
House.
Honorable Speaker. I don't want to be harsh with my friend, the Honorable Member for Makindu, but the standing orders are very clear. When you leave the House for the first time, it is a normal, it's a normal thing for you to leave for the rest or the remainder of the sitting. Then the next time you are thrown out, you go away for 3 more sittings. I don't know whether the Honorable Member is aware of that, because he may have admitted and just left. The standing orders are very clear. It will take him 3 sitting days for him to come back here. And it is very unfortunate. I remember Honorable Mutindi last time was thrown out in 2019. Then we had a retreat to Mombasa, and she was not able to go for the retreat because it's very expensive, because she is not recognized as a member until the expiry of the 3 days. So it happens to be it's a very awkward situation for both the member and the assembly. And I don't know what your ruling will be, because the precedence, this house is a house of rules, procedure, and traditions. And the traditions of this house and other houses, other Westminster houses, is that when you are thrown out for the first time, you go for the remainder of the sitting day. Then the second time, the subsequent suspension goes for 3 sitting days. And that also compounds even when we go for recess, because I understand we are going on recess on Wednesday. That means he will be coming back in November. And he will not even participate in public participation. He will not participate in oversight. And since this is a house of rules and traditions, and the traditions have been set as a precedence by other members who will refer to other members.
Honorable Kalunda, please.
Honorable Speaker, it will be very...
It's not gross misconduct. It's about the dress, and it's not explicitly provided. So it's about the dress, not another issue. The other issue of Honorable Mutindi was gross misconduct. Also, Honorable Maniki, you remember the case, but this is about the dress, which we are looking at. It's not.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Please.
At least you were to rule, but now that you've indicated to me that your ruling will be different, I'm very happy because the honorable member comes from our place, and he is my very great friend, and I was really perturbed to learn that he was to go up to when we come back for recess, from recess. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and congratulations for making it easy for people of Kibwezi to stay up until the end of this session. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Dennis Musyoka.
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
I'll just be to the point.
To the point, you had not already pronounced or ruled on the issue of my friend and my kinsman, Honorable Details, Honorable Kilonzo, that is Stephen Kilonzo. You had not pronounced that, you had just requested him to go out and dress properly and come back. You had not ruled out that you will be away for sittings. So I was wondering what my friend Honorable Kalunda was saying, but he was ahead about 10 kilometers while you, as Mr. Speaker, you just requested a very simple thing. Go and dress properly and come back. That is it. You had not pronounced anything, but this honorable member was very protective and all that. And I know you are a good man and you cannot throw my kinsman out from this honorable house. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm very much happy. I can see Honorable Bishop.
The Honorable Member, in order to call the Honorable Speaker a good man, Mr. Speaker is known by his credentials here, and he cannot be taken like an ordinary man. How can an Honorable Member go on to say, I know you are a good man, you could not? That is demeaning the seat of the Speaker, Mr. Speaker, which is not right. Can the Honorable Member be found to be out of what to reach? Honorable Speaker,
Dennis,
as a good man, I know you are a good man. This is not an ordinary statement for Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable Majority, because we know you cannot stand on another point of order. We will waste a lot of time, and we know that. So please, the matter, I think now it's sorted. The Honorable Member has gone to change if possible. He has gone home. So let's move forward, please. So we might waste a lot of time on a matter which was already concluded and decided. So please, let's proceed. Because why labor so much when we have sorted the issue? But it's good also for members to keep abreast with what is happening. Also read the standing order, also the speaker's rules, so that we can easily maneuver our way in the assembly. Thank you. So Chairperson Committee on Agriculture, Irrigation, Livestock, please respond to Janet Kitunga's statement regarding the agroecology. They are not responding. They are not 30 days. She was around, Chairman. She has left the chambers. So can we go to the next matter, please? We'll exclude the matter when she's around. You will respond when the Honorable Member is in the chambers. Yes. Honorable Chair, because you had nothing to respond, but you had stood to say something. Then before you proceed to tell us what you had decided to do with the statement, because the Honorable Member is not in the House. So let's agree, the Honorable Member on the statement by the MCA for Ilima, you will respond within 30 days so that he gets all that information he has stated he will get, then you respond to this House within the 30 days. So we can proceed. Thank you. So, Chair Agriculture, on the...
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, it's only that the member had requested to know whether we have a county policy on agroecology, and the response is that we don't have. And since this is a proposal, there's a proposal to the cabinet, and once they decide, once they go it through the cabinet, Mr. Speaker, the ECM has indicated that actually they'll furnish the assembly with information. So currently we don't have. That's why I'm saying I have nothing.
Thank you, Chair. Chair Committee on Health Services to respond to the statement as requested by member for Kadhonzweni Ward regarding the construction of Kiangini dispensary staff quarters.
Mr. Speaker, we concluded these matters when we had a sitting with the minister here. The speaker had said this minister will handle everything. But if you need, I can still read because there was a statement to that. If the House, if you so direct, I'll go ahead, Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead and respond to the Honorable Member.
Mr. Speaker, this was an additional information he had requested. In this question was the circumstances under which the contractor was awarded extension of contract being delayed and commencement of the project. The answer was the extension was based on the following. it was an added time based on this. The contractor had communicated the reason for delay in commencement of the project. That was one reason. Second reason was there was commitment by the contractor to finish the work after restarting. And the third was submission of revised work plan by the contractor. Question 2 was the expected completion dates for the project, noting that the 4 weeks extension period had lapsed. The contractor had requested for further extension of 4 weeks from 2nd October 2023 to complete the remaining works. And I've attached that. Number 3, progress report on the project as at 11th October 2023. As at 11th October 2023, the project was at 80% complete with the builder's works and roofing complete, windows fittings fixed, and the rest of the finishing works ongoing with the required materials on site as shown in the photos attached. After consideration and approval of the committee, the response was satisfactory. The committee adopted and brought it for presentation. The response was adopted after being proposed and seconded by Honorable Jacqueline Kamula and Jonathan Mwaki. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Request of the statement, you seem not to be interested with the statement. Proceed.
Honorable Speaker, thank you. Of course, I'm very much interested on the response. Mr. Speaker, I'm happy with the committee's work. That is job well done. So far, so good. The progress is recommendable. The work is going on. And when I passed there recently, I think it was on last week on Friday, they are now doing the finishing. So they had been given, Mr. Speaker, they had been given up to 4th of November to complete and leave the site. So that is good and I appreciate. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Next order. Sorry, honorable members. Chair, Health, there's also another statement you need to respond on the Mboni ward regarding construction of requested by member from Mboni ward regarding the construction of Mboni sub-county hospital. That is the isolation center.
Mr. Speaker, that one, expect the report to be out next week because the Speaker had granted that we should share that report with the honorable member concerned, and if he is not satisfied, you would follow up with the committee. So I would wish that we do that next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Request of the statement. Any comment on that matter? Have you been able to see the engineer's report, which was to be shared to all honorable members and you?
Mr. Speaker, I'm informed that the report is not yet in. So, Mr. Speaker, I'm patiently waiting. Then, after receiving the report, and we'll discuss the matter at that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, honorable member. So, next order. What's the point of order?
Honorable Speaker, my concern is before we move to the next order, in the order of events, I were to get a response concerning the Health Committee, the matter concerning my ward, matters of the statement. So I think before we move to the next order, I get that response.
It is not in the order, but I have not seen it. So the matter will be coming together with a strategic intervention the ECM stated will provide within 30 days. The report will be in the assembly, please.
You have clarified the matter, Honorable Speaker. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Order number 8, motion. The report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on the Makueni County Emergency Fund quarterly report and the financial statements for the period ended June 2023.
Chairperson, Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning. Chair. The Vice Chair. Any member of the committee? Finance and Socio-Economic Planning. The Vice Chair is here. I think we can revert back to the matter once the committee reorganizes itself. Can we go to next order? The committee cannot take us now for just delaying us because the chair was here, you are just here. We proceed, we'll come back to the matter, don't worry. Yeah? But I had already ruled the chair will proceed because he's back. You will proceed. He can't proceed. Let's go to the next order. Committee on Delegated Council Legislation. Because the chair cannot be leaving the chamber when the matter is coming. How do you handle that? So members, please. No, you were not delegated to your committee members. So we are in the next order. We'll come to you. We'll come to you. All will come to you. We are in the next order, please. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. The report of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation on the 2022-2023 financial year annual report of the Office of the County Attorney.
Chairperson, Committee on Delegated County Legislation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation on the 2022-2023 annual report of the Office of the County Attorney laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th October 2023. With your
Honorable Majority Leader, please consult in low tones.
Yes,
the member is moving the motion.
With your guidance, I would wish to go straight to the executive summary as opposed to read the whole report for the excess of time. The Office of the County Assembly was first established in 2017 following enactment of the Makueni Office of the County Attorney Act 2017. Prior thereto, the legal function was domiciled in the Office of the Governor and was performed by legal officers who were under the direction of the Chief of Staff, Office of the Governor. Later in 2020, the Senate enacted the Office of the County Attorney Act 2020, whose intention was to harmonize establishment of the county attorney offices in the all 47 counties in Kenya. By operationalization of the Makueni Office of the County Attorney began in financial year 2022-2023 with the recruitment and appointment of the county attorney in November 2022 and the county solicitor in January 2023. The office is currently a fully fledged department with staffing of 11 people, or 11 personnel comprising of the county attorney, county solicitor, 4 legal counsels and 1 legal clerk, as well as 1 procurement officer and 1 administrative assistant, 1 accountant, and 1 legal intern. Apart from the legal personnel, all other staff in the office have been seconded from their respective departments. Mr. Speaker, sir, Section 28, Article 1 of the Office of the County Attorney Act 2020 requires the County Attorney to prepare and furnish the Governor with a report on operations of the office during the year ending 30th June. Section 28, Part 3, additionally requires the County Attorney to submit a copy of the report forwarded to the Governor to the Clerk of the County Assembly for tabling before the House within 15 days of receipt of the report by the Governor. Pursuant to the highlighted provisions of the law, the Office of the County Attorney prepared and presented the 2022-2023 annual report of operations to His Excellency the Governor on 28th August 2023 and to the Assembly on 1st September 2023. The report was tabled in the House on 4th September 2023 and committed to the Select Committee on Delegated County Legislation for consideration and reporting within 21 days. Mr. Speaker, sir, the annual report highlights the law pursuant to which the Office of the County Attorney is established, mandates of the office, the vision, mission, and strategic objectives of the same office. The report also contains programs and activities undertaken by the office in the year 2022-2023, as well as the challenges encountered while executing the outlined mandates of the office. Financial statements of the expenditure incurred by the office during the period under review have been attached to the report, and several recommendations for better performance and functions of the office made. What challenges were faced by the office during the period under review? Mr. Speaker, sir, several challenges were encountered by the Office of the County Attorney during the period under review, whose particulars are highlighted below. The first one is insufficient budgetary allocation to fully operationalize the office. 2, inadequate personnel to facilitate effective and efficient delivery of services. 3, lack of an office space to accommodate existing and anticipated personnel. Actually, we realize that the office we are talking about is currently housed under a certain corner within the governor's office. Number 4, inadequate office furniture and basic working tools and equipment. Being a new establishment, there is no enough furniture as well as tools for the personnel in that particular office. Inadequate budget for training, capacity building, and continuous professional development of personnel in the office. Lack of vehicles to facilitate movement, including court attendance and other critical duties out of the work station. We observed as a committee actually that they are using personal vehicles in executing their functions. Then we have the discord between the existing career progression guidelines and the staffing levels envisaged in the Office of the County Attorney Act. Lastly is inadequate funds to settle outstanding legal fees, as we are going to find as we go ahead with this report due to the external counsel engaged by the county government previously. What recommendations by the Office of the County Attorney? Mr. Speaker, sir, the Office of the County Attorney recommended as follows. First, that the budgetary allocation for the Office of the County Attorney be increased from the current allocation of 34 million for the year 2023 to 2024 to allocation of 85,909,850.69 cents for the year 2024-25 to facilitate full operationalization of the office. This includes a debt of 54 million, which was 54,889,850.69 cents, which had been accrued as pending legal fees and charges by the consultants or by the respective contracted legal personnel by the former count. Number 2 is that the current training fee allocation to be increased to 1,300,000 to facilitate capacity building and the continuous professional development of the personnel serving in the office. Bearing in mind that these are new establishments, there needs to be proper capacity building so that they can be aligned within the structures of the count and they can be streamlined to full operate or full support the county government. That the recruitment and promotion budget be increased to 4.5 million to facilitate recruitment of additional personnel in the office of county attorney, as well as promotion of existing staff, since the office requires an additional allocation of 4.2 for recruitment of 2 legal counsels and 1 assistant director, as well as 360,000 shillings to facilitate promotion of existing legal counsel from their current jobs group L to job group M. This is within the career progression which already they are due. Then that security of tenure be provided to 3 legal counsels currently on contractual terms by absorbing them on permanent and pensionable terms of employment. Priority be accorded to the officers who have served and continue to serve in the office. An additional 1 million, therefore, be made to cater for the change of terms of engagement. And this when you do the long-term kind of analysis, it becomes more cheaper as opposed to holding them on contractual basis. Number 6 is that 1.6 million be allocated towards purchase of office furniture and 3.4 towards purchase of basic office equipment, including laptops, bulk printer machine, bulk filer, screen projector and monitor. These are the kind of accessories which they need for the full execution of their mandate as expected by the count. That the existing scheme of service to the Office of the Count Attorney Act be reviewed and aligned. That funds be allocated for the office space and the construction of an office block to accommodate the Office of the Count Attorney. The estimated budget for leasing of an office space is actually coming to around 120,000 per month, amounting to 1.4 million per year, which in the long run turns to be more expensive. In this context, that's why they are actually requesting if there could be proper allocation of funds to construct a building which houses them. That funds be allocated for purchase of 3 vehicles for state movement to court and other areas of duty as expected by the count. 1 vehicle for the count attorney at an estimated cost of around 8 million, 2 vehicles at an estimated cost of 6 million for other personnel. As I earlier alluded, is that these people they are using their own personal vehicles. In this context, now that the office has been skipped away from the governor's office, there needs to have their own assets which can be able to use for full functionality. That funds be allocated for payment of non-practicing allowances to advocates serving in the office of the Count Attorney at 2.6 million per year for all the council. That all allocations for drafting of legislation, policies, and public participation be transferred to the office of the Count Attorney, and the future budgeting be done under the office of the Count Attorney, and not respective departments to facilitate execution of the mandate of the office. What findings did we get as the committee? The committee findings are that 17 legislative proposals to facilitate implementation of devolved functions under Schedule 4 of the Constitution were developed by the respective county executive departments for consideration and approval by the County Assembly before the end of the year 2023-2024. 2, the Office of the County Attorney currently has a total of 11 personnel comprising of the County Attorney, County Solicitor, 4 legal counsels, 1 legal clerk, 1 procurement officer, and 1 administrative assistant, 1 accountant, and 1 legal intern. This is understaffing of the personnel needed for the optimal execution of the mandates of office based on the magnitude of the workload in the said office. Number 3, performance of the litigation function included engagement of external counsel and consultants due to the specialized nature of some cases before court and the inadequate staffing levels. The office currently has 4 legal counsel serving 10 county departments and 30 semi-autonomous government agencies. During the period under review, the office handled a total of 93 active court cases, 85 of which were handled by external counsel and 9 by legal counsel in the office of the county attorney. All these cases emanated from functions related to the departments and other county entities, and that's why we ended up incurring a debt of around 54 million. Number 4, drafting, review, and execution of contracts. Memorandum of understanding and other administrative instruments constituted a major part of the office portfolio. Execution of the document was aimed at enhancing partnerships and collaboration between the county government and the private sector, as well as intergovernmental relations. A total of 22 memorandum of understandings and excess of 100 contracts were drafted, reviewed, and executed during the period under review. That being done by only 4 legal counsels, it is really a bit overwhelming. Number 5, the office was instrumental in facilitating debt collection through preparation of demand notices. In collaboration with the Department of the Trade, the office facilitated recovery and rent arrears owed to the county government, thus facilitated collections into the county revenue fund. Number 6, in facilitating administrative justice and efficient grievance redress mechanisms in the county, the Office of the County Attorney developed a legislative proposal on county administrative justice. It is expected that upon approval and enactment of the proposal into law, county residents will enjoy a localized grievance redress system, thus eliminate the need to lodge complaints with the Commission on Administrative Justice at the national level. Number 7, succession cases in the county are numerous and the majority touch on private rights of the county residents. The Office of the County Attorney, through its limited staff, has taken up a number of these cases on a pro bono basis and collaborated with the relevant agencies in facilitating free access to justice for the affected county residents. Some of the agencies that have been instrumental in facilitating redress include Federation of Women Lawyers, that is FIDA, Independent Policing Oversight Authority, IPOA, and Independent Medical Legal Unit, which is IMLU. Number 8, the total budget for the Office of the County Attorney for the year 2022-2023 was 14,463,196 shillings. This comprised of recurrent expenditure only. The total department expenditure for the financial year was 13,722,515.50, accounting for 95% absorption rate. Operations and the maintenance accounted for 77%, while personnel emoluments accounted for 23% of the total expenditure. You'll note that the 23% is due to the unavailability of sufficient funds, which they could not be able even to utilize it. The department did not incur in development expenditure because that was not budgeted for. The financial statements for the financial year ended 30th June 2023 have been prepared in accordance with the cash basis of accounting method under the International Public Sector Accounting Standards, which is IPSAS. The outstanding legal fees due and owing to the external counsel stood at the same 54 million as I earlier on mentioned as at 30th June 2023. This amount has continued to accumulate over time across all departments. There is an urgent need for additional allocation of legal fees to afford further accumulation of pending legal fees to unmanageable levels. Then number 11, what we found is that during the period under review, the Office of the County Attorney did not receive any conditional grant from the national government and the development partners. Our recommendation as a committee is that based on the above findings, the committee recommends that the Office of the County Attorney expedites review and approval of the 17 legislative proposals at their disposal for consideration and enactment by the County Assembly by close of the 2023-2024 year to facilitate county governance and effective service delivery to the residents of the county. Number 2, the Office of the County Attorney should streamline approach to litigation management by transitioning representation from external counsel to in-house legal counsel, except in complex cases requiring specialized skills and higher experience as the matter dictates. To facilitate this, enhanced training of legal counsel in the office and continuous professional development to keep up with the ever-changing operations dynamics within the country. In equal measure, efforts to be made to fast-track completion of cases pending before the courts across the county. Number 3, awareness about the Office of the County Attorney and services offered by the Office of the Residents of the county should be intensified to facilitate access to justice at the industrialized level. This can be enhanced by fast-tracking consideration, approval, and enactment of the Makueni County Administrative Justice Law to ensure a localized mechanism for grievance redress. Number 4, the county government to ensure adequate allocation of funds for the Office of the County Attorney to cater for both the recurrent and the development expenditures in the upcoming fiscal year 2024-2025 and the subsequent financial years to enhance service delivery. Number 5, the county government to allocate resources towards settling of the pending debt, which seems to be stagnating to around 54,889,850, and this will streamline management of the litigation portfolio and enhance positive relations between the Office of the County Attorney and the legal service providers in the county and across the country. In absence of conditional grants from the national government and development partners towards the Office of the County Attorney, The office should always consider exploring alternative sources of funding for the operations and activities they are undertaking. Number 7, to address the staffing gap in the Office of the County Attorney and subject to availability of funds, the Office of the County Attorney should recruit qualified staff, promote existing staff that are due for promotion, and absorb 3 legal counsel currently engaged on contractual terms to permanent and pensionable terms of service. This will automatically help the department to be able to execute and achieve full functionality within its own mandate. It is noteworthy that the 3 staff contracts will expire in December 2023. Hence, the need to prioritize their absorption to avert a staffing crisis in the department. Number 8, the Office of the County Attorney to review and prioritize legislative proposals on the basis of urgency and impact to fast-track consideration and approval by the County Assembly and implementation by the concerned departments. The county government to allocate funds in the year 2024-2025 for the construction of an additional block to avert lack of office space and the cost of leasing out office space. This will definitely save the county a lot of money. The county government to allocate funds in the year 2024-2025 for purchase of 3 official vehicles for the Office of the County Attorney to be fully mandated or full functional in its execution of the duties. And then finally, the County Assembly to amend or review the standing orders to clearly indicate all the mandates of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation, the Standing Order 214 of the Makueni County Assembly standing orders. That will definitely be able to streamline a standalone kind of department as it ought to be by the law as it was changed. I strongly, Mr. Speaker, sir, acknowledge or take this opportunity to thank all members of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation for their input and infallible contributions during the preparation of this report. The committee also takes this opportunity to thank the offices of the Speaker and the Clerk of the County Assembly for the technical support accorded to the committee. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is my pleasure and duty on behalf of the Committee on Delegated Legislation to present to this Assembly the committee's report for consideration, report on consideration of the 2022-2023 annual report of the Office of the County Attorney for consideration and adoption. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I have outlined, I don't have much to speak on this, but one of the key things I will be able to explain and expound is that this is a new kind of department which was created under the umbrella of the law in this country. Any new department has its own challenges. It is true they are facing a lot of challenges and they have tried to execute. It is upon this House to be able to see the magnitude of how much we are losing when we contract legal counsel or legal services from outside. Therefore, the item as a House, we need to support our own people so that they can execute to the fullness of this count. And that will bring this count a lot of success story in future. Having said this, I will call upon Honorable Member Esther Ngila to second the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I now propose that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation on the 2022-2023 annual report of the Office of the County Attorney laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th October 2023. The floor is now open. Move of the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will take this moment to thank all the honorable members in the House. That silence means they are convinced that this is a high need which is needed within the count, which is needed within our precepts of operation. In this context, I urge them to support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
I now put the question, which is that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Delegated County Legislation on the 2022-2023 annual report of of the office of the Count Anthony laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th October 2023. Will as many of these opinions say aye? Will as many of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 8, motion. The report of the Committee on Finance and Social Planning on the Makueni County Emergency Fund quarterly reports and financial statement for the period ended 30th June 2023.
Chair Finance, proceed.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to move the following motion that this Assembly adopts the report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on the Makueni County Emergency Fund quarterly report and financial statements for the period ended June 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on 2nd October 2023. Mr. Speaker, on receipts, the emergency fund received Kenya shillings 47,232,938 shillings from the county government of Makueni as at the reporting period. On payments, Mr. Speaker, payments made from the fund as at the reporting period amounted to Kenya shillings 38,149,538 shillings. The payment of the Kenya shillings 38,149,538 was made against a total receipt of Kenya shillings 47,232,938 shillings. Hence, a surplus of Kenya shillings 9,083,400 shillings as at the reporting period. Mr. Speaker, sir, on cash and cash equivalents, at the close of the fourth quarter of the financial year 2022-2023, the fund had Kenya shillings 9,083,400 as the total financial assets, all being bank balances, that is current account held at Central Bank of Kenya. The fund had liabilities of Kenya shillings 3,907,022 shillings during the reporting quarter. This was on trade and other payables from exchange transactions. These are trade payables. Mr. Speaker, sir, therefore, as at 30th June 2023, the total net assets and liabilities of the fund amounted to Kenya shillings 5,176,378 shillings. Statements of comparison of the budget and actual accounts for the period June 30th, 2023. Mr. Speaker, sir, the final county government of Makueni financial year 2022-2023 budget allocated Kenya shillings 50 million to the emergency fund. By the close of the fourth quarter, Kenya shillings 47,232,938 shillings had been disbursed to the fund account. This representing a 94% utilization or disbursement, with a utilization difference of Kenya shillings 2,767,062 shillings. On payments, Mr. Speaker, sir, payments made from the fund for the entire reporting period amounted to Kenya shillings 38,149,538 shillings, representing a 76% budget utilization, while giving a budget utilization difference of Kenya shillings 11,850,462 shillings. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee observations. During the committee deliberations, the committee observed the following. 1, all payments made from the fund were approved by the County Assembly as required by Section 114 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. 2, during the reporting quarter, where there were no funds from the emergency kitty which were used to pay for allowances to officers of the county government undertaking the emergency projects and programs. This is in compliance with the County Assembly resolutions which had been passed to stop payment of allowances from the emergency fund kitty. Mr. Speaker, sir, committee recommended as follows. 1, the committee recommends that the emergency fund is only used to real emergencies which are truly unforeseen and cannot be planned, in order to ensure continued availability of funds in the emergency kitty to cater for ever-rising emergency cases, including those brought about by weather vulgarities such as droughts. 2, no funds from the emergency fund shall be used to pay the facilitation costs while implementing an emergency project, but rather the requisition department shall draw such facilitation costs from its own recurrent budget. May I take this opportunity to thank all members of the committee for their valued contributions and input during the deliberations and the making of this report. On behalf of the committee, I also wish to extend thanks to the officers of the Speaker and the Clerk of the County Assembly for the support according to the committee, which was instrumental in the making of this report. Mr. Speaker, sir, on behalf of the members of the Finance and Socio-Economic Planning Committee, it is my place and duty to present to this County Assembly the committee's report on Makueni County Emergency Fund reports and financial statements for the period ended June 30th, 2023 for consideration and adoption. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I call upon Honorable Harrison Mutie, the Vice Chair of this committee, to second the motion. Thank you.
I now propose the question, which is that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on the Makueni County Emergency Fund quarterly report and financial statement for the period ended June 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on 2nd October 2023. The floor is open. Chair. I'm the mover.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, on both today. I want to appreciate members. Silence means they are in agreement, and I request them to support the motion. Thank you.
I now put the question, which is that this Assembly adopt the report of the Committee on Finance and Socio-Economic Planning on the Makueni County Emergency Fund quarterly report and financial statement for the period ended June 2023, laid on the table of the Assembly on 2nd October 2023. Will as many as of these opinions say aye? Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, motion. The report of the Budget and the Appropriation Committee on the guidelines for the preparation of the medium-term expenditure framework budget for the period 2024-2025 to 2026-2027.
Chair, budget.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move the following motion, that this Assembly adopts the report of Budget and Appropriation Committee on the guidelines for the preparation of the medium-term expenditure framework budget for the period 2024-2025 to 2026-2027, laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th October 2023. Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, I will go straight to the introduction to understand what is this paper, and also I will go further on our report, our findings and recommendations, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to Section 128 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, this Assembly is meant to, this circular is meant to guide departments and agencies on the following. 1, policy frameworks supporting the medium-term budget for 2024, 2025, 2026 to 2024, 2025 to 2026, 2027. It's almost it's done for three years. That is. 2, timelines and the requirement for key activities in the budget preparation process. 3, institutional framework to guide the budget preparation process. 4, the methodology for review and the projection of revenues and expenditure. 5, the format in which information and documents related to the budget are to be submitted. 6, form and content of budget and costing of the program and projects. 7, prioritization process of programs. 8. Form and the content of budget and the costing of programs. 9. Framework for public participation in budget making process. So this is just a guideline with these contents, which the agencies and also institutions of the government should make sure that they follow the guidelines. The committee noted that in the financial year 2024-2025, allocating resources to programs, the following broad criteria will serve as a guide for allocating resources. 1. Leakage of the program with the priorities of CIDP 3, the one we've passed for the 5 years. B. Finding of the program performance reviews for the ongoing programs. Mr. Speaker, you will understand the programs and the projects which are already in the budget for 2023-2024. B. Finding of the programs, C. Degree to which a program addresses core poverty reduction, interventions, and wealth creation. D. Degree to which the program is addressing the core mandates of the county entity. E. Expected output and outcomes of the program. F. Cost effectiveness and the sustainability of the program. G. Ongoing activities of the county government flagship projects. H. Extent to which the program seeks to address viable stalled projects. And I. Readiness of the sector to implement the programs. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Masteso is making a lot of noise and moving this motion. Notably, Mr. Speaker, the equitable share has grown tremendously. However, the county has not been meeting on-source revenue targets over the years. Members of the committee noted that the county will employ following strategies to raise revenue. A. Strengthening the internal resource mobilization. B. Strengthening the whole government approach in on-source revenue mobilization. C. Leveraging on technology to fully automate all revenue streams. D. Enhancing policy and legislation framework for revenue administration. E. Instituting measures to recover outstanding debts owed in respect of plot rent from all defaulters. F. Leveraging on valuation role to enhance collection of land-based revenue. G. Establishing a county court to handle cases of non-compliance. H. Restructuring the billing regime to ensure all related business activities for single permit are built once. I. Establishing a dedicated enforcement and compliance unit that is appropriately trained to handle all revenue matters. J. Restructuring revenue administration from geographical to functional approach. So, Speaker, those are the strategies which are going to be used by Head of Treasury to make sure that we correct revenue and never again have a shortfall on on-source revenue. The committee noted that the priorities in the county budget circular were consistent with the priorities in the approved CIDP 3. Consideration of the budget preparation guidelines for the medium-term expenditure framework, period 2022-2023 to 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, the Budget and Appropriation Committee deliberated on the budget preparation guidelines for the medium-term expenditure framework, period 2024-2025 and to 2026-2027, to check on its compliance with the provision of Section 128 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and the regulation of the Public Finance Management Regulation 2015. The clarion call in the medium term will be "Our people, our priority," with the slogan "Wao ni wakwikanesa na ulungalu" in quotes. Analysis of the budget and preparation guideline for the medium-term expenditure framework, period 2022-2023 to 2025-2026, indicated the following gaps. 1. The circular doesn't provide the submission of quarterly budget implementation reports. whereby we have said this medium-term expenditure is a guideline. Is a guideline on how we are going to prepare our budgets and how to make sure that those budgets are implemented. There we have a quarterly budget which where it did not tackle the issue of quarterly budget implementation reports, which are supposed to be submitted to the County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, in accordance with the Section 104R of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, the County Treasury is mandated to report regularly to the County Assembly on the implementation of the annual county budget. In addition, pursuant to Standing Order 211.3 of the Standing Orders, one of the mandates of the Budget and Appropriation Committee is to report on budget implementation. Further, Section 166 4 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provide the County Treasury should submit quarterly report to the County Assembly. The County Assembly should submit the quarterly report. The County Treasury should submit the quarterly budget implementation report to the County Assembly as provided in Section 166 4 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. So that is a gap which we identified. The second gap which we identified is issuance of circulars to all accounting officers in due time. The committee recommended that the County Treasurer should endeavor to issue circulars to all accounting officers during key budget cycles activities pursuant to Section 104I and N of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 that provide the County Treasurer shall issue circulars with respect to financial matters relating to the county government entities. A copy of the circular shall be copied to the chairperson of the Committee on Budget and Appropriations. The other gap which we identified as Budget and Appropriation Committee is categorization of the County Assembly under the Devolution Sector Work Group, separation of powers. Aware that Article 176(1) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that there shall be a county government for each county consisting of county assembly and county executive. The Constitution establishes two separate entities. Further, one of the principles of devolution is that county government shall be based on democratic principles and the separation of powers pursuant to Article 175A of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. In addition, Article 185(3) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that a county assembly, while respecting the principles of separation of powers, may exercise oversight of the county executive committee and any other county executive organ. So, Speaker, the issue here is whereby the county assembly is being treated as a department. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to make sure and also make it clear to the members who are present here, we cannot be a department, as the county government has two arms, whereby we have the executive and the county assembly, whereby we are supposed to oversight the county executive, but not a department. We are a legal entity, whereby we can be sued, and also we can sue as a legal entity. Therefore, we cannot be treated as a department and our accounting officer to be reporting to be reporting as an accounting officer, but should be the separation of powers should be there. We are government. Without one arm of the without county assembly, there is no government. Without executive, there is no government. So you must work together and be treated as part of the government, but not a department, Mr. Speaker. Public Finance Management Act. Public Finance Management and the Budget Process. Section 147, 148, 149 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, read together with Article 226 of Constitution of Kenya 2010, provide distinct roles of the accounting officers of the county executive and the accounting officer of the county assembly. Clerk of the county assembly, that is the accounting officer. Further, Section 129 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provide that each county assembly clerk shall prepare and submit to the county assembly the budget estimate for the county assembly, and the copy shall be submitted to the county executive committee member for finance. So, Speaker, you can see there, the clerk will do, or the budget will be prepared and submitted to us, but not to the county executive committee member for finance, but a copy should be given to her or to him. Number 4, the County Executive Committee member for Finance shall prepare and present his or her comments on the budget estimates presented by the County Assembly Clerk. Given the above legal provisions, the County Assembly is not supposed to be under any sector working group within the County Executive in respect to the principle of separation of powers. Firstly, due to the fact that one of the principal mandates of the County Assembly is to oversight the County Executive process and operations. Therefore, the County Assembly will oversight the process of instituting sector working groups, their composition, attend the sector working groups, and observers and scrutinize the sector working group through its committee system. Secondly, the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Planning, Budget and Revenue should inform the County Assembly on key events within the budget cycle through the Office of the Clerk. Therefore, the Office of the Clerk will provide the necessary information, support any cooperation required. Thirdly, the negotiation of the resources will done between the County Assembly and the County Assembly and the County Assembly during the budget approval process in consideration of the estimates of the County Assembly submitted by the Clerk of the County Assembly and the County Allocation Revenue Act. The County Assembly Service Board, through its Vice Chairperson, will present the needs, priorities, and budget allocation to the Committee on the Budget and Appropriation. Lastly, the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Planning, Budget and Revenue shall endeavor to notify the County Assembly on time through the Office of the Clerk the key events within the budget cycle and any other obligation of the County Assembly accounting officer. This will give the County Assembly Service Board ample time to deliberate on the matter and respond through the accounting officer who is the clerk of this assembly. Number 4, the other gap which we saw, operationalization of the Sector 1.2 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 in regard to pronouncement of the revenue raising measures for the county government. Section 1.2 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provides on submission and consideration of the revenue raising measures in the County Assembly. This is provided in our Standing Order 23, Orders number 23 and 243. The committee noted the above legal provisions have not been operationalized in the county. The County Executive Committee member, Finance, Planning, Budget and Revenue has agreed to make pronouncement on revenue raising measures when you submitted the Makueni County Finance Bill 2024 in order to reduce the revenue gaps in approving expenditure and revenue raising measures finance bill enactment. The committee recommends that the timeline of submitting the finance bill should be within 14 days after submission of budget estimates. Honorable Speaker, pronouncement by the member or the head of Treasury on raising measures of revenue raising measures should be done when submitting the finance bill, Mr. Speaker, and it should be done by the head of Treasury in this chamber, and also give us strategies how they are going to raise the raise the revenue for this county, and within 14 days, then the finance bill is submitted, and that should be done way back somewhere in April, whereby by after 14 days, the finance bill should be tabled here, Mr. Speaker. That should be submitted alongside with the budget estimates. That one, you have seen the finance bill which was approved by this county assembly was done in the month of November, October, somewhere there, whereas when immediately the finance or the head of treasury, that is the waziri, make the pronouncement in the next 14 days, the waziri should submit the finance bill here for the assembly, so that it can be tackled by the relative committee and make sure that they bring the recommendation, Mr. Speaker, to this assembly, but not submitting it in the month of November, October, somewhere there, because that finance bill will be required for the budget estimates for that particular year. Mr. Speaker, committee observation and recommendations. The committee made the following observation: that the account treasurer has not adhered to the provision of section 164(4) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 that provides on submission of quarterly budget implementation report to the County Assembly. Section 104(1)(n) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 provides that the county treasury should issue circulars respect to financial matters relating to county government entities. 3, that the county assembly has been categorized under the devolution sector working group, which is not good. Number 4, the county has not operationalized section 132 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 and standing orders 23 and 243 that provides the pronouncement of revenue raising measures by the county executive committee member, finance, planning, budget, and revenue. So, Speaker, the reason why I'm putting emphasis on number 4 is when these pronouncements are being done, it is indicative of what we are going to receive from our own source revenue. And our own source revenue will make part or will be part of the budget estimate. So it should be done earlier before the first July. So it should be done earlier in the month of April, somewhere there, the pronouncement, and then after 14 days we receive the finance bill. So that we can be able to approve that finance bill before the end of financial year of that particular year, that is by 30th June. Mr. Speaker, allow me to go to recommendation. The committee recommended that 1, the county treasury should submit quarterly budget implementation reports to the county assembly pursuant to section 164(4) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. 2, the county treasury should be proactive in issuance of circulars pertaining timelines, contents of key budget cycle document as provided in section 104(1)(n) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012. 3, guided by the principle of separation of powers in accordance with the Article 175A and 185(3) of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the county assembly should not be categorized under the devolution sector. 4, the county should operationalize section 132 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, understanding order number 23 and 243 that provide on the pronouncement of revenue raising measures by the county executive committee member, finance, planning, budget, and revenue. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore my pleasure and pursuant to section 128 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012 on behalf of the Budget and Appropriation Committee to table the committee's report on the guidelines for the medium-term expenditure framework, period 2024-25 to 2026-27 for consideration and adoption. And I therefore ask the Deputy Leader of Majority to second the motion. Thank you.
I now propose the question, which is that this assembly adopt the report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the guidelines for the preparation of the medium-term expenditure framework budget for the period 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th October 2023. The floor is now open. Move of the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I first thank the members because I know they have supported the report in silence. It was clear and straight to the points, Mr. Speaker. And I ask the honorable members to support the motion with a big aye. Thank you.
I now proceed to put the question, which is that this assembly adopt the report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee on the guidelines for the preparation of the medium-term expenditure framework budget for the period 2024, 2025, 2026, 2027, laid on the table of the Assembly on 18th October 2023. Will as many of these opinions say aye? Aye. Will as many as of a contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable members, the time now being 17:00 hours, this assembly stands adjourned until Tuesday, 31st October 2023 at 9:30 a.m.